learn a story. Okay? Who likes stories? I think we all like stories, right? So, but first I have to ask you something. Let's see. Hands up. Who has a good memory? Who has a good memory? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you're very confident with your memory. Okay, maybe we should ask you by the end of this program what you learned. Maybe will we have enough memory for that? Okay, hands down. How many of you have bad memory? I have a terrible memory. Okay. So do all of us have a good memory? No, right? Not all of us have a good memory. But does that mean we're not going to be successful? What do you think? So some of us, sometimes the teacher is explaining something to us, okay? And then we don't understand. What happens after that? We kind of feel shy, right? The teacher asks, did everyone understand? And then we kind of, what do? We just kind of sink in our chairs, right? Don't you have the experience? The teacher asks, did you understand? And everyone says, yes, we understood, but you didn't understand. So then what do? You like sink in your chair, like you look down. Yeah, I understand. Isn't that what you do? So not all of us have a good memory. Not all of us understand things all the time, quickly, right? But does that mean we're not going to be successful? So what do we have to do? What do we have to do? If we don't have a good memory, what do we have to do? That means we got to put in more effort. What do we got to do? We got to put in more effort. We have to be diligent. What's that word called? Diligence. Diligence means we have to put in sacrifice. We have to be careful, right? So when the teacher teaches us, what do? We look at the end of the day, we write all our notes, and then we reflect. When you go home, what do? Do you study? Do you do homework? Do you do homework? Are you doing your homework right now as we speak? I hope not. So homework. So what do? We keep thinking about the things we learned. So that way we can remember, right? Or do you cram until, do you wait till the last day to study everything? Don't do that. A lot of students do that in university. Okay. So now today we're going to learn about a monk. And he didn't have a good memory. Do you know what his name is? Who can guess? His name is Chulapantaka Swami Mahanse. Have you heard about him? Chulapantaka. You know what that means? Chula means big? No, Chula means small. Pantaka means road. Pare? Pantaka. Small road. What was his name? Small road. Okay. So what happened was, while his parents was going back, because now the mother was pregnant, she wanted to go meet her, I believe, her parents. So he was, his brother was born by the road. Where was his big brother born? By the main road, by the highway. So then you can guess, what did they put for his name? Because he was born by the road, they called him Pantaka. Okay? And then the second time the mother got pregnant, and so then while she was going down the road again, so normally the custom is that when you get pregnant, when the mother gets pregnant, they go see her parents, right? So on the way back, what happened? Did she get there? No, she delivered the baby where? Again, by the road. So now, can both of their names be Pantaka? No. So what was the big brother's name? Mahapantaka. And what was the little brother's name? Chulapantaka. Chula means small, Maha means big, great. Okay? And Pantaka means by the road. Okay? So these were the two brothers. And these two brothers, they had a grandpa. Do you live with your grandparents? When I was small, my grandparents lived with us. You know, your grandparents don't live with you? If your grandparents live with you, you should talk with them. I know some children are very naughty. You know what they do? They poke their grandparents. They don't let them sleep, right? Or they laugh at their grandparents. Do you do that? So when you see your grandpa's struggling, or your grandma, she can't get up, what do? Do you laugh? Some children laugh. What do? You run up and you help her stand up. Maybe she has some nice comfy slippers. You can help her put on the slippers, right? So these are things we can do. Because you know why? Our grandma and grandpa, they don't live forever, right? So if they pass away, we're going to regret the things we do. Do you know what regret means? We're going to feel bad. Oh, when my parents lived with me, when my grandparents lived with me, I didn't get a chance to help them. So don't regret, okay? So I remember when I was small, my grandma and grandpa helped us so much. So when your parents aren't home, who babysits you? Your grandparents, right? So grandparents are a big deal. So here, Chulapantaka and Mahapantaka's grandpa was bringing them to the Asapur, to Veluvanaram. Okay? So he kept bringing him to the monastery. And who was in the monastery? The Buddha and monks. They preach, right? So do you go to the monastery to learn teachings? Or do you just join like this online only? Maybe there's a monastery nearby wherever you live. Do you go? Do you go to your nearby monastery and learn some Dhamma? Do you hear Bana? Or do you go to the monastery and sleep? Do you like go to the corner and just lean on a wall and sleep? Or do you go to, maybe you give dana at a monastery nearby? And then do you sleep there too as well because it's early morning? Some children do that. They curl up into a ball and sleep in the corner. So don't do that, okay? Try your best to stay awake. Help your parents, okay? So these children weren't like that. Chulapantaka and Mahapantaka, when their grandpa took them to the Asapur, to the monastery, they were listening. They were listening to the Bana. And you know what happened? The big brother thought, you know what? I'm going to become a monk too. So he asked permission from his parents and then he became a monk. So now, what's his name? Mahapantaka Swamin Manse. Now he's a monk. So Chulapantaka, his little brother, is like, I also want to become a monk. So what did he do? He says he gets permission from his parents and then he too becomes a monk. So his brother was very diligent. He was very smart. So who here has an older brother or sister? None of you have older brothers? You don't know if you have older brothers or sisters? I had an older sister. I have an older sister. So sometimes our older siblings are better than us at everything. Don't you feel like that sometimes? Like for me, my older sister was better than me at so many things, right? So here, Chulapantaka wasn't very talented, but his big brother was very talented. He was very smart. In a few days, after learning the Dhamma and practicing diligently, and not in a long time, in a very short period of time, he became an Arahant. So now Mahapantaka is who? He is an Arahant. He's an Arahant. So now he's an Arahant. And so now Chulapantaka comes and he's a monk. And now his brother is telling him, okay, now you have to learn. So back in those days, did they have books? Did they learn from books? Do you know how they learned? They memorized. So they'd say like a couple words, and then when they leave, they have to say it again and again in their heads. They have to say it again and again. Wherever they're going, they say what they learned out loud. So these are things you can use when you go to school, right? So This is how you can learn. So he was saying, so here his brother gave him these beautiful verses. Okay? Do you want to hear those verses? You sure? Okay, so these are the verses. Just 4 lines, okay? So here are the verses, okay? Padumang yatha 𝐒𝐞𝐛𝐬𝐢𝐭𝐞 sugandhang patusya pulmavit gandhang anghirasang pasvirochamanang tapantmadicchamivanti likheti. Is that a long? It's pretty short, right? But you know what? It took 3 months. So now he said, just memorize these verses. Okay? Doesn't sound too bad, right? He said, just memorize this. So the translation is, in the morning, a beautiful flower, okay, a red flower, blooms, okay, in the autumn season. So in the same way, the Supreme Buddha he has lots of virtue and concentration, and he shines with his knowledge. So the Buddha is just like that. Is like when the sun shines and the flower blooms. So this is a beautiful verse about the Buddha. Okay, so here now he told his brother to memorize these. Okay, but he can't memorize anything. So you see, now he wants to become a monk, but the problem is, in order to become a monk, you have to memorize. You can't just lie around doing nothing. So in those days, they had to memorize a lot. So 4 months passed by. How many months? 4 months passed by. There's just 4 lines, but he wasn't able to memorize. So just these 4 lines, he couldn't memorize it for 4 months. Now we think we have a bad memory, right? So he has a really bad memory. Why? It's just 4 lines and he couldn't memorize it. So now let's say if we didn't memorize something, what do we do normally? We get sad, right? We get really sad. So here, the big brother, so the big brother's an arahant, right? He says, hey, you know what, little brother, if you can't memorize these things, what's the point of you being a monk? You may as well just go home. So what did the big brother say? He says, go home. You can't memorize anything. How are you supposed to be a monk? So what did he say? Go home. So now you know what happened? Churapantaka now he's going on his way home, and now he's crying. He's crying at the gate. He can't go home. He can't go back to the monastery. He doesn't want to go home. He wants to be a monk, but his big brother is saying what? Go home. So now he's crying. He's crying. So then when now he's crying, so you know who sees him crying? Here comes the most compassionate teacher. What do you think it is? He comes very slowly, gracefully. Maybe he put his hand on his shoulder. Who knows what happened? That time, the great compassionate teacher, Supreme Buddha, comes and says, why are you crying? And then he says, my brother told me to go home because I can't memorize these verses. So then the Buddha says, this is my dispensation. This is my teaching, right? I'll help you. And so then what did he do? He gave him this white cloth. What did he give him? A white cloth. And then he told him to rub it, to rub the dirt away. Okay? So he said, when you take this cloth, just say, may there be no stains. May there be no stains. And so then you know what happened when he was rubbing that white cloth? Did it get more clean? He was just rubbing it with his bare hands. It got less clean. It got more dirty and dirty and dirty. It got browner. Why? Because he was just rubbing it with his hands, right? So then he realized, wow, these things, everything is impermanent. What did he realize? Everything is impermanent, subject to change. We can't control these things, right? So do you know what impermanence means? So some of you are saying yes, and some of you are saying no. So that's what we were talking about before, right? Sometimes we feel embarrassed that we don't understand, right? But you don't have to feel embarrassed, okay? So the Buddha explains that everything in the whole world is impermanent, okay? Impermanent means it doesn't change. What does impermanent mean? It's always changing. It's always changing. It's always changing. It's always changing. So are you the same right now? Are you going to be like a small little kid forever? Are you going to become, maybe you're going to become a man or a big lady one day, right? Or are you going to be a small little kid forever? Are you going to go to school forever? No, you're going to maybe get a job one day. Maybe you're going to become grandparents one day. Do you know that? You can't imagine, right? One day you're going to be like an old person and you can't get up. Your body hurts. You know, have you had like a fever before? Fever? Flu? It's like when you get old, like every day you feel sick. Like you have a body but you can't move it. Doesn't seem nice? Do you like to become grandparents as quickly as possible? Well, if you like it or not, you're going to become grandparents very quickly. Very, very quickly. So that's what the Buddha is saying. Every moment is impermanent. So from a second ago and right now, are you the same? You look the same. Now let's look at everyone right now. Okay. Now 5 seconds pass by. Are we still the same person? We look the same. We sound the same. Are we still the same? We look the same though. Like if you see a photo of you a long time ago, what do you think? We think we're the same person? We're different, right? What happened within those 5 seconds? We got older. Within those 5 seconds, what happened? We got older. And our skin became older. Our nose became older. Our teeth became older. So you see, every passing moment, what's happening? We're changing. We're not the same. Okay? So because of that, we have to learn to let go. What do we have to do? We have to learn to do what? To grab a hold of things. So sometimes we wish for a nice phone maybe, or we wish for a nice game, nice clothes. But are we always going to be wishing for these things? No, right? Maybe when you're really small, you wished for Barbie dolls. And then when you get older, do you still play with Barbie? No, you don't even think about Barbie anymore. You think about like maybe bags, brand name bags maybe. And so maybe when you're really small, you like to play video games, right? Yes. So I see some of you like to play video games. And then when you get older, what happens? You don't play video games anymore. That's what happens. Some people very rarely until they're 40 they play video games, but very rarely, okay? So we change. We all change. So you see, even though Chula Pantaka didn't have a good memory, you know what happened? In those few moments, so he was thinking, why did this cloth change? Why did it change? And then he realized, because everything is impermanent. And when he was thinking like that, he became an arahant. So what happened to him? He became an arahant. So if he got sad and if he thought, oh, I don't have a good memory, would he be able to become an arahant? No. But because he has diligence, what's that word called? Diligence. Because he has diligence, he was able to become an arahant. So the moral is, you shouldn't get sad when you if you don't have talent, right? So hands up, who here can play the piano? Do you know how to play piano? Wow, very good. Who here can play an instrument? Any instrument? Okay, very good. Hands down. Let's see. Who here is really good at swimming? Okay, so not everyone. Some of you might drown if we put you in a deep end. Okay, hands down. Who here, let's see. Who here can read books? Okay, very good. I can't even read books even right now. It's very difficult for me. Hands down, okay. Who here, let's see. Who here can play badminton really good? Who here? You can just raise your hands. Yeah, you don't need the digital hand. Badminton? You can play that badminton? Oh, hands down. Who here can play basketball really well? Basketball, no basketball players. Okay, hands down. Okay, very good. So, another question. Who here can draw pictures really well? Okay, wow. So I can't draw pictures. I don't know how to paint. I don't know how to draw pictures. So see, not all of us are talented, right? Okay, hands down. So you see, now we all had different talents. So if we were to feel sad, I don't know how to draw pictures. I don't know how to play music. I don't know how to play sports. Will we ever be successful at anything? No, right? So you see, even though Chulapantaka, he had a terrible memory. Like, he couldn't memorize 10 words after 4 months. Can you think about that? 4 months, he couldn't memorize just 10 words. So you could realize how sad he must have felt, because everyone around him was memorizing everything really quickly. So you see, even though that was the case, he didn't give up. So what should we do if we don't know something? We shouldn't give up. We should be diligent, okay? So very good. So now, who here is good at meditating? Okay, very nice, very nice. So who here can meditate for 30 minutes? 30 minutes? Wow, very talented. Okay, so some people can't meditate even for 2 minutes. Do you know that? Yeah, because it's very difficult. For some people, it's very difficult. Okay, so if we're sad that we can't meditate, what should we do? Should we give up? We should keep practicing, right? So the Buddha explains here, we should be always diligent. Okay, very good. So let's see if we can, for a few moments, let's practice some loving kindness meditation. What do you think? Shall we? Okay, so I have to ask, who here meditates every day before, let's say, at night? Very 1, 2, just 1. Okay, so because you don't have time, right? When you go to school, maybe you don't have time to meditate, right? Because you're always thinking about school. So can you meditate when you're in the morning? Probably not, right? So maybe I think it's really good if you could practice meditation before you go to sleep. So now it's 8:12, okay? So when you go to sleep, 10 p.m., that's too late. Maybe when you're on your bed, practice loving kindness for 2 minutes. Can you? You have to, okay? You have to. Have to. Promise, right? Every night, okay? If 5 minutes is too long, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, okay? Just think, may I be free from anger, ill will. You know how it goes, right? Okay. Let's see for a few moments if you can practice some loving kindness. Okay. So everybody sit nice and straight. Okay. Nice and straight. Okay. And don't think about all the beings in the whole world. Okay. Now I see you have nice, well, some of you have nice clothes. You have a nice, like chairs and a nice house. It looks like you have a nice house. So do all children have nice houses? No. So tomorrow, do you have breakfast? All of you have breakfast, right? Tomorrow morning? Some children don't have breakfast. They know when they sleep tonight, tomorrow, there won't be any breakfast. Okay? Why don't you share loving kindness with them? What are you doing? You should share loving kindness with them. May they be free from hunger. Don't you think like that? Why don't you think about all the people who are angry? Haven't you seen people who are angry? Some people are so terrible. Why don't you think may they be free from anger, ill will? Can't you think like that? Maybe haven't you seen animals? Big animals. They eat small animals. Haven't you seen small animals? They eat smaller animals. Haven't you seen smaller animals? They eat insects. Right? Haven't you seen insects? They eat ants. Haven't you seen ants? They eat worms. Right? So they're all eating each other and killing each other. Why don't you think may all the animals and insects be free from anger and ill will? You don't think like that? Every day? What are you doing? You should think that. Why don't you think about the ghosts? Haven't you seen ghosts before? You haven't seen a ghost? Right? So why don't you think, so now we see beings, right? We see people. What about the people we don't see? Why don't they also be free from anger and ill will? You don't think like that? You should think like that. Maybe all the beings who I don't see, may they also be free from anger and ill will. What about the devas? Should the devas be upset? No, may the devas also be free from anger. So the Buddha explains, you share loving kindness to everyone without any boundaries. Okay? Okay, for a few moments, let's practice some loving kindness. So everyone sit nice and straight. Sit nice and straight. Okay. Okay. And no talking. Close your yappers. Okay. No more yapping. Okay. Okay, close your eyes. And now everyone calm down. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Let's think about all the beings everywhere. Let's first share loving kindness to ourselves. And then gradually we'll share loving kindness towards all beings in this place, in this city. Let's be skillful. Let's be talented in sharing loving kindness. Maybe we don't have talent in playing badminton. Maybe we don't have talent in playing music. But let's all be talented in sharing loving kindness, okay? So listen carefully to what I say. Okay, close your eyes, listen carefully, and think along to what I say, okay? Okay. May I be free from anger. Be free from ill will. Be free from jealousy. Be free from mental suffering. Be free from physical suffering. May I live in peace. May I live happily. Let's share loving kindness again to ourselves, okay? May I be free from anger. Be free from ill will. Be free from jealousy. Be free from mental suffering. Be free from physical suffering. May I live in peace. May I live happily. Now let's share loving kindness to all beings, small and large. Beings we can see, beings we can't see. May all beings in our house, may all of them rejoice in this loving kindness. May all beings in this house be free from anger. Be free from ill will. Be free from jealousy. Be free from mental suffering. Be free from physical suffering. May all beings in this house live in peace. May all beings in this house live happily. May all beings in this city be free from anger. Be free from ill will. Be free from jealousy. Be free from mental suffering. Be free from physical suffering. May all beings in this city live in peace. May all beings in this city live happily. May all beings in this province be free from anger. Be free from ill will. Be free from jealousy. Be free from mental suffering. Be free from physical suffering. May all beings in this province live in peace. May all beings in this province live happily. May all beings in this country be free from anger. Be free from ill will. Be free from jealousy. Be free from mental suffering. Be free from physical suffering. May all beings in this country live in peace. May all beings in this country live happily. May all beings in this world, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. May all beings in this world be free from anger, be free from ill will, be free from jealousy, be free from mental suffering, be free from physical suffering. May all beings in this world live in peace. May all beings in this world live happily. May all beings everywhere, above, below, and all around, let us share this loving kindness to all types of beings, to large beings, to small beings, to visible and invisible beings, whether they live near or far, whether they may be angry, whether they be our enemies, whether they be violent, may all beings everywhere rejoice in this loving kindness, as a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child. Even so, towards all living beings, let us share this loving kindness. May all beings be free from anger, be free from ill will, be free from jealousy, be free from mental suffering, be free from physical suffering. May all beings live in peace. May all beings live happily. 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 May all beings be happy. May all beings everywhere rejoice, be happy in this loving kindness. By the power of this loving kindness, may we all reduce our anger, reduce our ill will. By the power of this practice of loving kindness, may we be more talented, more capable in sharing loving kindness. In the most difficult situations, instead of getting upset, instead of being impatient, let us practice loving kindness. Let us practice patience. By the power of this loving kindness, may we all realize the Four Noble Truths and escape this long journey in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll come right back, okay? Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Namo Buddhaya, 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 Namo Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo
Buddhaya. Dear Dhamma friends, the monk who delights in diligence and fears negligence is incapable of losing wholesome qualities. He is close to Nibbana. In this stanza, we'll be able to learn more about this monk. Appamadarato bhikkhu pamade bhayadasiva ababhu parihanaya nibbanaseva santike. The monk who delights in diligence and fears negligence is incapable of losing wholesome qualities. He is close to Nibbana. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya, नमो बुद्धाय 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 नमो Namo Buddhaya.
Okay, Namo Buddhaya. So everyone can join back now. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, who here has Dhamma books? Do you have books at home to read? Because I know if you were talking about the Mahamina, wow, see, there's a book there. Buddha Dharma. Can you read Sinhala? Wow, very good. When I was your age, I didn't know how to read Sinhala. It took me a long time. I only learned how to read Sinhala maybe 3 years ago. So see, it's very good that you know Sinhala. We should all try to learn Sinhala. Okay, so does everyone else have books, Dhamma books? Okay, so in Mahamina we have lots of English translations. Okay, and there are also other books that we can learn. Okay, so you should keep books beside your bed. What do you keep beside your bed? Phone? I hope not. Right? Is it just an alarm clock only? Or do you not wake up in the morning? So you should maybe keep a book. I remember when we were small, we had small little booklets, pamphlets. They would have the Buddha's qualities, the Sangha's qualities, and we'd memorize them when we were small. And when we were young, we memorized them easily. Do you know the Buddha's qualities in English? Such indeed is the Blessed One, Arahant, Worthy One, supremely enlightened, endowed with knowledge and virtue, follower of the noble path, knower of worlds. Can you say it like that? The peerless trainer of persons, teacher of gods and humans, the enlightened one, the Blessed One. Can you say the Buddha's qualities like that? You know the qualities of the Dhamma. Here's the qualities of Dhamma, okay? Listen carefully, okay? Well taught by the Blessed One is the Dhamma, visible here and now. That means the Buddha teaches the Dhamma really good. The beginning, the middle, and end is really nice. Visible here and now, you can learn and see for yourself if it's right. Visible here and now. Timeless, it doesn't change over time. Open to all. This Dhamma is open to everybody. Right? If I were to say this Dhamma is only for boys, not for girls, is that right? No, right? This Dhamma is for everybody. So that's the quality of the Buddhist teachings. Open to all, learned and applied to oneself. You can only practice by yourself. Can I force you to practice Dhamma? Hey, you have to practice loving kindness every day. Can I say that? No. You can only practice if you have the determination. Okay? Understood by the wise, each for themselves. So this Dhamma is only for the wise. Is the Dhamma for fools? If you want to realize the Dhamma, but if you're a fool, it'll never work out for you. Okay? So see, we used to memorize these things. When I was really small, I memorized all these things. So does everyone have a Parita chanting book? Do you have a Parita chanting book? No? Pirit chanting? So online, there's a Pirit chanting book. Mahaminawa. If you just type in Mahaminawa, English, Pali, Pirit chanting book, you will find many free online. Okay? So you can practice chanting, right? In that book, all those in that book, the Buddha's qualities, the Dhamma's quality, the Sangha, the quality of the Sangha is all very clearly there. Okay? So maybe you all aren't able to get a book in your hands, but you can practice online. Just all you need to do is just type in, I think all of you are talented in computer stuff. You just type in English Pali Parita chanting book, Mahaminawa, and then it just comes up. Okay? So you should all learn how to chant Pirit. And maybe before you go to bed, what should you first do? Practice loving kindness for how many minutes? You don't remember? 2 minutes. If you can, 5 minutes, okay? Practice for 5 minutes. If not, 2 minutes, okay? So you can all, and then after that, you can chant Parit, okay? Chant Pirit. So at night, you can chant Angulimala Pirit. Do you know Angulimala Pirit? Hands up, who knows Angulimala Pirit? 1, 2.5, 3, 4. Okay. So that's all in the Paita book. It's online, okay? Maybe we can get our helper to put that in the link. Send the link on the comments, the chat, so that way people can find it. Okay. So you can all chant that. It's all in the Paita book, okay? And then in the morning, before you go to school, you do the morning vandana, right? So you worship the Buddha and you say the Itipiso Gata, right? And the qualities of Dhamma Sangha, right? Okay. Before you go to sleep and before you go to school. And you worship your parents too, right? In the morning? Okay. Very good. So let's see. So now it's time to see good deeds. So recently we went to this place called 𝐿𝐤𝐢𝐿. It's in 𝐒𝐞𝐤𝐢𝐿. So maybe we can get the photos so we can show. So have you all built a sai before? Would you like to build a stupa? A nice big stupa maybe? Wow, it's a kid. So everyone, so last Saturday, we were able to go to Doyanda Nasapur. And people, so this was the food. We gave, so the monastery people gave out food. So we can quickly go on to the next photos. So we gave food and drinks to all the people who were making this diet. So a lot of people came in the city of 𝐒𝐞𝐤. So you see, wow, it's chicken. Wow, see, so the kids are putting rocks. They're making the foundation of the stupa. So what do you do when you see things like that? You say, Sadhu Sadhu Anumodami, I rejoice in the merit, right? So see, they give food to the workers. Wow, very good. So they're making a huge stupa in 𝐿𝐤𝐢𝐿, which is in 𝐒𝐞𝐤𝐿, with lots of dhatu nazis, right? So haven't you ever made a stupa before? You haven't made a stupa before? Wow. You haven't even offered like one brick? No? So I have. I've offered to the 𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐼, right? Have you heard about 𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐼 in Mihintale? And what about Digavapi? Have you heard about Digavapi? So Digavapi is in Ampar. Do you know where Ampar is? No, most of you don't know. Okay, so that's where the Buddha's nail relic is. Okay, so it's in the southern province, on the eastern province. Okay, so there, they're making a big sai. So those sayas are huge, and after time, they break down and they fall, right? And so now, after a long time, people are gathering, poor people and people, lots of people who they come and they don't even have a lot of food, but they work in the heat because they want to gain merit, right? So let's see. So that was the good deed that we were able to rejoice in. Let's hear from you the good deeds that you did, okay? Who here has a good deed to share with us? Maybe Mayomi?
Like on a Poya day, I think. I can't remember which. So, so I have some fish in a fish tank. So I started off with a few adults. So anyway, so they reproduced this. So now there's more. then there were 4 adults. So one was a girl fish. So she laid eggs, and now we have babies. So one day on a Apoya day, this is a while back, but and the mother jumped out of the fish tank.
No way.
Yes. So then I was walking to put something in the bin when I noticed something. I carried on, and when I went back, I realized it was that fish. So I called my mother. So, and then she called my father, and then we saw the fish wasn't moving. But then when my dad sort of touched it, it started to move. So my dad quickly put it back in the fish tank.
Wow, very good.
Yeah, so if I had noticed, then it probably wouldn't have. It probably would have been dead.
Very good. So very good. So that's how they rejoice in your merit. So very good. So children, when you see like a fish, I remember when we see fish and they jump out, we're scared to touch them, right? But then some people, they're not scared. They come and they run quickly, grab the fish and put it back into the tank, right? Some people are really compassionate. They're not afraid. While we're still thinking about how to hold the fish, they already saved the fish, right? I remember when I was in Matra, there's this big fish tank, and there was always this one fish who kept jumping out of the tank for some reason, and I was always too scared to hold that fish. But there was other monks who they were very experienced with fish. They would just come and just throw back in, or else how terrible it is. They can't breathe, right? They're just struggling. You know how painful that is? So very good. So we all rejoice in your merit. Very good. Let's hear from Diane and Joanne, the good deed that they did.
Swami said, we gave dana to the Mahasangha.
Very good. Sad. So you gave dana. Was it morning or lunch? You don't remember?
Swami said, we were me and my sister were at school, and my mother gave dana. We don't know what time, but my mother said that we gave.
Okay, very good. So we rejoice in your merit. Very good. Sad. Very good. Let's hear from Nolara, the good deed that she did.
I helped my dad to carry the grocery, and then I gave some bird seeds to the birds.
Wow, very good. Sad. So we all rejoice in your merit. So do you go shopping with your parents? That's a good topic. I remember when I was a child, our parents would ask us to go shopping, right? And then we'd feel bored, we'd feel tired, right? And then sometimes we'd walk around and we'd see chewing gum, right? You see bubble gum and then you wish for bubble gum. You bother your parents for chocolate maybe, right? Don't you do that? So instead of doing that, what do? You should help your parents. Sometimes your parents are grabbing like 6 bags on this hand and another 6 bags on the other hand. Don't you have that experience? And she's just grabbing everything, and a lot of children I see just running around not holding any bags, right? So don't do that. Don't be like that kid, okay? You should be that kid that carries most of the bags, so that way your mom can open the car and they can comfortably do the work, because it's not easy to go shopping, then go home and then make food, right? It's so tiring, and your parents go to work. So very good, Nolara. We rejoice in your merit. And also don't forget about the birds. Birds are very hungry. They have tiny stomachs, but they're always chirping. So if you have something to give something to the birds. Okay, very good. Mahidi, can you Tell us the good deed that you did.
I helped my friends when they had difficult subjects at school.
Wow, very good. So what subject did you help the most?
Science, English, and math.
Wow. That's, I think, the
But
types
my
of
friends,
Hmm?
but my friends know math a bit. They
Yeah.
can do. I'll ask them if they need help.
Very good. Very good. Sa. We all rejoice in your merit. Very good. So when when your friends need help, it's very important to help them, right? And so like we all have that terrible experience where we don't understand what the teacher is saying. We don't understand what the teacher said. So then we're stuck, right? Don't you ever have that terrible moment? So then at that time, like not just for us, other children have that experience. Sometimes when we learn something, we know everything, okay? And there's another kid who doesn't understand anything, so we find them annoying, right? We feel like not telling them anything because it's annoying, because we know everything, so we don't feel like telling them. But it's a very good thing to tell others the things you know, right? It's a very good quality we should all have, okay? Okay, very good. Let's see, Ranaki, what do you have to say?
So I had done 2 merits.
Mm-hmm.
One was I saw a bird with a broken wing in a balcony. So then my mom and my brother ran to the shop and bought a bird feeder and also a tiny house for the bird. We made a tiny house for the bird and hung it up, and we put some seeds and rain and a little cushion inside the bird feeder for the bird to stay. So after it got better, for some reason it was not in the bird feeder. So when we looked around, we had a oak tree in our house, in our porch. So a little oak tree, it turned out it had made a nest in the oak tree. And I noticed that its stomach was really big and that there were 3 eggs in the nest that it made.
Wow.
And also, Swami Hansen, one time, on a poya day, we were playing in our back garden. When I saw something move behind one of our bushes, I got really scared. And I told my father. He went to have a look. It turned out it was a mother cat. And so it had one baby with it.
Yeah.
So it had 2 babies actually with it. So we felt really sorry for it. So when my mom went to get some milk and chicken and some rice for them, actually when we all went in, it had somehow laid another baby. So the mom looked really tired and her stomach was still big even after she laid 3 baby kittens, and she looked really tired. So we gave them some milk and rice and chicken.
To the cow, right? I mean, to the cat, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So the cat. So you helped a cat and a bird, right?
Yes, sir.
So a mom bird and a mom cat, right?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So like being a mom is the hardest job in the world, right?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So very good. We all rejoice in your merit. Sad. So you know how difficult it is. Like a mother cat, like runs around, searching for food for the small cat, and then she has to protect that cat. And then birds have to protect their small birds. They have to go early morning and search for food. So very good. Okay, who else is there? Like to share a good deed? Maybe Vihan, would you like to share with us the good deed you did?
I gave some biscuits to a street dog.
To who?
To a dog.
To a dog. Very good. Very good. Sad. So, very good. Dogs are very hungry, right? Okay, let's see who else has a good deed. Nisha, do you have a good deed you'd like to share with us?
When my grandma was sick, I gave her a biscuit and milk. And the second deed I did, my grandma said there was a red bag and it was really heavy, so I carried it down for her.
Wow, very good. Sad. Very good. So you can always help your grandparents, right? Very good. And who else is there who wanted to share a good deed with us? Dienka, tell us the good deed you did.
I helped. I forgot.
Who's forgot? You helped forgot?
No. Oh yeah, my friend forgot a maths question, so I told her what the maths question was.
Yes. Fantastic. Anything else? Nothing else? Okay, very good. Let's get some more enthusiastic good deeds. Come on, I feel like we're not just you. A lot of the good deeds have they're not as energetic anymore. Where are the good deeds? Come on. Don't you remember the good deeds you did? Are you all terrible children? Is that what it is? We need juicy good deeds. I think we've been doing this for some time now, and now there's no more good deeds. I don't want to bash on your good deeds. It's good. It's good. It's not bad. It's good. But come on, let's hear something good. Okay, Siluni, do you have a good deed to share with us?
Once I saw birds trying to find food, then me and my dad made a bird
Nest.
bird nest,
Bird feeder.
bird feeder for them, and then I put some rice in it.
Very good. So if you can make bird houses, right? How amazing is that? Okay. Anybody else out there with a good deed? Sajiva, was there something you wanted to share?
I helped my mom with her chores and to keep the Buddha puja.
Mm-hmm.
And when my mom feels sad, I make her feel happy.
What was that second one? I didn't hear that. Okay, very good. So who here do you do Buddha Puja at home? No? Yes? Okay, so in Sri Lanka, almost in every home, I think a lot of people give Buddha Puja, right? To the Supreme Buddha. So you shouldn't neglect the Buddha. You should definitely do that, right? Okay, very good. Okay, so your good deed, okay, because I have to give you a good deed to do, or else you're not going to think of any good deeds to do. Okay, next week you have to tell me something really amazing, okay? Really fantastic good deeds. Think about, what am I going to do? What am I? I'm going to do a really good deed so next week I can share it with Swami Nansi. Why don't you think like that? Right? Something really nice, something creative, okay? So the good deed that I'm going to tell you to do is to get a book, a Dhamma book, okay? And keep that book beside your bed, and every night you should read that book, okay? Because that's how we read books. I remember I hated reading books. I can't read books. But because I kept a book beside me, beside my bed, once a day, just read 1 page a day. And before you know it, after a month goes by, sometimes we feel energetic. We read 2 or 3 pages, right? And maybe we find something interesting. We read a little bit more than normal. Before you know it, 1 month goes by and we've read like 100 pages, right? Because sometimes Dhamma books aren't always interesting, right? They're not always interesting. But if we practice just like Chula Pantaka, we can start to learn things, right? Because in the Dhamma, there's so much amazing things to learn, okay? Storybooks are just the same old story, right? Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, it's all the same, right? There's no difference, okay? But in the Buddhist teachings, there's so many things we can apply to our lives. So many things where we have problems, right? We can take from the Buddhist advice, okay? Okay, so what is your good deed to do? To keep a Dhamma book beside your bed and to read it, okay? So find a way to get a book, okay? Because it's 2023. I know you all have a way to get a Dhamma book, okay? You all maybe have Amazon or something. So maybe you buy toys, right? So you now I know, like, these days aren't like how when we were children there was no such thing called online shopping, okay? Now you have online shopping, you can get a book in a few seconds, right? So you all have an ability to get a nice new Dhamma book, okay? Get a book and read it, okay? This is like the last, I think you all are the last generation to read books. Like a hardcover book, right? I don't know if anyone else after your generation, if they'll even read books anymore, right? So since you are the last generation, try to read a Dhamma book, okay? Okay, very good. So today we learned about the story of Chulapante. Yes, Mahidi, what was that you'd like to?
Swami Mahansa,
Hmm?
I chant Pirit with my mother every evening.
Very good, sad. Also, I remembered,
Before sleeping also I listen to Dhamma.
before sleeping, you listen to Dhamma.
Yeah, the Pirit.
The prayer chanting, okay.
Yeah.
Last week, I wasn't here. Did everyone draw a picture?
Yeah.
Wasn't that a... Did you all draw a picture of Arahant Mahinda?
I drew it and showed you.
Yeah, you drew one, but I think, didn't I mention for everyone to draw one?
Yeah.
Oh, you see that? No, it was a nice drawing. I can't draw something like that. Did all the children get a chance to show the drawing last week? I don't... No? Do you have a drawing? Can you show it quickly? No one has... Anybody else did draw it? What's that? Ooh, a sack of lanterns. No one drew it. Okay, very good. All right, no problem. So, okay, let's end the program today. So today we learned about what? What was the story about? Chula Pantaka Arahant Maharatan Mahase. Okay, so we learned that even though he had terrible memory, but even then that didn't stop him from becoming an Arahant. Okay, so we should always think about Chula Pantaka Arahant Chulapanta. He eventually became a very powerful Arahant. He could make many copies of himself. So he was in the so one of the monks told a person to call him to come to Dhanashala. And then when he went to the room where Chulapantaka was, there wasn't one of him. There was many of him everywhere. Can you imagine? Instead of one Chulapantaka, there was duplicates. There was just so many Chulapantakas everywhere. So then that person became very scared. Can you imagine if there was just like, instead of one of you, there was like many of you? So then he went back, he said, there's so many Chulapantakas. And then he says, hold on to the one that says his name. He says, so he first says, Chulapantaka, are you there? And then everyone, all those duplicates say, I am Chulapantaka. So he got scared and then he ran back, and then they said, grab a hold of the person who says I am Chulapantaka first. That's the original. So then he went back, and then they all say, I am Chulapantaka. And then he grabs hold of the first person who says, I am Chulapantaka. And then all the duplicates disappear. And then Chulapantaka says, so then he says for him to come to the dana hall to have dana. So then what happens is he says, I'm coming. And then you know what he did? He went through the floor and came out of the floor into the Dhanashala. So that's how he showed that he was an Arahant, right? So who was this Arahant? The one who couldn't even remember like 10 words for 4 months, right? So you see, even someone like him could become an Arahant, right? So the moral of the story is to be diligent, to keep practicing, to keep on sacrificing, okay? Don't give up. I know you all can do it, okay? So let's share all the merit we collected today with all the devas. May all the devas rejoice in this merit. May all the devas protect these young dear children. By the power of this merit, may the devas realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And let's share merits towards all our departed friends, teachers, relatives, maybe our grandparents, anyone who passed away. May they rejoice in this merit, and may they escape this long journey of samsara in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And let's share merits towards our teacher Lokusamin Manse, all the monks and nuns practicing this Dhamma. May they all realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And let's share merits with all these dear children. May your education and future goals be successful. By the power of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, may you always have protection. May you all realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Now let's ask for forgiveness from the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, okay? Okay. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang acchayang khama me bhanti puripanna tathagata. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang acchayang khama me dhamma sandittika akalika. Kayena vacha chittena pamadena maya katang acchayang khama me sangha punyakhetang anuttara. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now let's ask for forgiveness. We can worship the Sami Nwanse, okay?
අවසර සනස ඕකාස වන්දාමි බන්තේ Maya katam punyam samina anumoditabbang
Sadhu sadhu modami.
samina katam punyam maihan databbang
Sadhu anumodite.
sadhu sadhu anumodami okasa dwarattena katan sabbang acchayang kamatame bante
Kamami kamitabba.
okasa kamami bante dutiyampi okasa kamami bante tatiyampi okasa kamami bante.
Sopateva, Sopateva. Okay, may you all have good health, long life. Okay? So we'll see each other next week. Okay? Namo Buddhaya.
Excuse me, sorry, sir.
Yeah.
I can't look here.